Japanese have the islands, and we want on those islands. And we've got to get there. We're going to use an amphibious vehicle, because the Navy has ships, but they don't get us quite to the shore. What we're going to use is the LVT. This is an LVT4. This vehicle actually did not exist before World War II. It was the brainchild of a young engineer who wanted to develop a vehicle that would rescue people from the Everglades after hurricanes. What he came up with was a floating box, but on that box he put tracks. And the tracks are to help it climb over things that might be just under the water. But on the tracks he put little paddles. And those paddles are actually what has this vehicle move through the water. They're called browsers. They're the W-shaped things that you see on the tracks there. Once the tracks are engaged and rolling in the water, they actually push the vehicle forward. The vehicle has a 250 horsepower, 7-cylinder gasoline aircraft engine in it. Has a crew of 3 and a 5-speed transmission. Top speed in the water is 5 to 6 miles an hour. On land it can get up to 15 miles an hour, but because of those paddles, typically it's not taken off of the sandy beach. The vehicle would be put in the water offshore. The Marines would climb down the side of the cargo ships into the hold. The engine would be cranked up and it would paddle itself to the beach. It would climb up out of the water onto the beach. The ramp and back would be lowered, and the Marines could use the vehicle as cover going down either side of it. The vehicle is not armor plated, it's all mild steel. So you need to get in and out as quickly as possible. After the Marines would be out, they would typically put the wounded on board, close the ramp, and it would back itself back in the water and go back out to the ships. It was built by the Food Machinery Company in California. They used almost as many in the Pacific as they actually did in the European theater. They used a lot in Germany crossing the rivers. Second vehicle we're going to talk about, we see out here is our Jeep, our general purpose 4x4, quarter ton. This vehicle was a replacement for the horse. The Army didn't have anything other than horses up to World War II, and they realized they needed something that could carry people around. They invited 135 different automotive companies to design such a vehicle under their requirements of less than 2,000 pounds and 40 horsepower. Only 3 companies responded in time. They only gave them like 2 months to come up with this vehicle. Willis Overland, Ford Motor Company, and Bantam Car Company. Bantam Car Company won the contract. They won the competition. Their design was what you see over here. Unfortunately, Bantam was a very small company, and the Army wanted thousands of these vehicles. So they picked Willis to actually build the vehicle. Willis could not produce enough of them, so they brought Ford in. At the end of the war, they produced over 650,000 of these vehicles. One coming off the assembly line, 1 every 2 minutes. The vehicle is all steel and four-wheel drive, has a flathead 4-cylinder engine of 40 horsepower, gasoline. It has a 3-speed transmission, a transfer box for the four-wheel drive, and a 2-speed high-low box for pulling on heavy loads. The vehicle has been given a lot of uses: ambulance, reconnaissance, radio, liaison, and combat with the 50 cal on top. That's our Jeep and our LVT4.